Hi, this is Dawn from Ninja Bunny Crochet. Welcome to Granny Squares. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on the four-sided granny square. But before we get into making a granny square, let's talk about the anatomy of a granny square. Granny squares are made up of basically two stitches, your chain stitch and your double crochets. Your corners are 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Your sides are 3 double crochet with chain 1 spacers in between. As long as you can make those double crochets at a chain stitch, you should have no problems making granny squares. Let's talk about the tools you need to make a granny square. You need a crochet hook. Today's tutorial, I'm using a size I or a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and a yarn needle to weave in your ends. And of course you need yarn. You can use any type of yarn as long as the yarn and the hook match. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you won't miss any of my tutorials. So let's get into making some granny squares. To start a granny square, we're going to start with a slip knot on our hook. Granny squares are made from the center out. Make sure your slip knot is not too tight on your hook so you can slide it up and down. I'm going to start with a chain of 4. Slip stitch into the first chain. This forms the center ring of our granny square, or the center hole. Chain 3. This chain 3 will count as a double crochet. Then we're going to place 2 more double crochet into the center of the ring. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over again and pull through the first 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through the last 2. That's a double crochet. Yarn over again, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. That's your first double crochet shell. Chain 2 for our first corner, and we're going to place 3 more double crochets. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over and insert and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. 2 double crochets made. Last double crochet for this shell, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over again, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Now you have 3 double crochets, and we're going to chain 2 again, because again this is a corner. Continue this pattern and make 2 more shells, and I will meet you back at the end of the round. And at the end of the round, I finished my last 3 double crochets in my 4th shell. We still have the chain 2, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of that first chain 3 that we did, which counts as our first double crochet. So count up the chains, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 2, or that, excuse me, that chain 3. You want to make sure you get both loops of that top chain and slip stitch. And since we're going to be changing colors, you're going to fasten off Now what I like to do when I'm making granny squares is after each round, identify all 4 corners and put your fingers in them and kind of spread them out a little bit so you can see that shape, that square shape. Okay, now you're going to want to thread up your yarn needle now so we can weave in this end. Flip the work over and thread or weave it in under a few stitches, back and forth 2 or 3 times to make sure it doesn't come back out again. Then you can go ahead and snip that end off. And if you're wondering where that first beginning tail was, it was worked under as we were going around. And there is the beginning of your granny square. And if you look at the example, it looks just like the center. Just the same thing. Now to begin the second color, you're going to want to start with another slip knot on your hook, and we're going to start with a slip stitch. You don't want to start in the same corner that you just fastened off with, so turn your work and start in a different corner. Just with a slip stitch, attach your yarn and start with a chain 3. Then we're going to do 2 double crochets into this corner to start the corner. Now, because this is a side, we're going to chain 1 for that chain 1 spacer, and we're going into another corner. So we're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. So here's our first 3 double crochet shell, and now we're going to chain 2 and place 3 more double crochets into that corner. Now we're coming up on another side, so we're going to place a chain 1 spacer for the side here, and now we're going back into another corner. So again, 3 double crochets. Chain 2, 3 double crochets. Now I'll let you finish this last corner yourself. And when we come up onto this corner, since we have half the corner done, you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2, and slip stitch. I will meet you back at this corner to show you how to finish the corner. Okay, we're right up to the last corner, and we're going to place our 3 double crochet into that last corner that we had started. And since we already placed our other 3 double crochet in there, all we need to do now is the chain 2, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first chain 3. To complete the corner. And then we're going to fasten off because we're going to change colors again. Identify our corners and give it a little tug to straighten out the corners. Now I'm going to weave in my end, and we'll come back to put our third color on. Just as before, we start with a slip knot on our hook, and we slip stitch to join, and chain 3. Place 2 double crochets into the corner to start the corner. Place a chain 1 spacer because we're coming up onto the side. Now this time we have this chain 1 space here. So we need to place 3 double crochets into that chain 1 space. And another chain 1 spacer, and we're going into a corner, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Coming up on another side, chain 1 spacer and a chain 1 space. So we're going to do 3 double crochets into the chain 1 space. Chain 1, and we're going into the corner, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2. Chain 1, because we're coming up on the side. Okay, complete the rest of this, and I will meet you back at the corner so that I can show you one more time how to finish the corner. And then we'll move on to our fourth color, and I will show you at that time how to complete a row, do 2 rows, excuse me, in the same color. Please complete this pattern all the way around back to the beginning, and I'll meet you back at the beginning to show you one more time how to complete the corner. I'm coming up onto the last corner where we're going to place our 3 double crochets to complete the corner. Chain 2 and slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then fasten off this color so that we can switch colors. Identify the corners, and there's our granny square. Now we're going to weave in these ends, and I'll meet you back up for our final color. On the final color, we're going to place 2 rounds of the same color, just so that you know how to make 2 rounds in the same color, so in case you would like to make a granny square of all one color. Again, we're going to start with our slip knot on our hook and fasten our yarn on in the corner and start with the chain 3. 2 double crochets to start the corner. Chain 1, because we're starting our side, and this time we're going to have 2 chain 1 spaces that we need to put 3 double crochets in each side. So the first one was 3 double crochets, then a chain 1 spacer, and then 3 double crochets into the next space. Just like that. Chain 1, and we're into our corner. And we're going to place 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Chain 1 to start the side. Please complete this all the way back around till we get back to the corner, and I'll show you how to continue on round 5 in the same color. So do not fasten off at the end of this round. I'm at the end of the round 4, chain 2, and slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet or the chain 3, and this time we're not going to fasten off. We're going to chain 1, and to continue with this same color, we're going to slip stitch into the next 2 double crochets and then slip stitch into the chain 1 space. Then we're going to chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and double crochet 2 more times. This counts as our first double crochet shell for round 5. Chain 1 and move on to the next shell. And then it's business like usual. Chain 1 and move on to the next shell until we get to our corner and and it's chain 1, and now we're at the corner, and the corners are just the same as they've always been. 3 double crochets, chain 2, three double crochet into the corner. You're going to continue this pattern till we get back around to where we began. Please continue this till you get back around to the beginning, and I'll show you how to finish off, since it's a little bit different because it's not in the corner. Okay, I've just finished our last corner, and I'm coming up to the end of the round. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of that first chain 3 that we did. Just like that to end the round. Now, if you were to end it right here, you could just pull up and fasten off. If you wanted to continue with this same color, you would do just as you did before and slip stitch over to the chain 1 space and start the next round like so. Again, it all depends on how many rounds you would like to do. So there you have your granny square. If you've liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of my tutorials, and you make sure you ring that bell too, because that's how you'll get notification that a new video has been released. Thanks for watching, and have a great day, and happy crocheting!